नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. So, with the blessings of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, with the blessings of all my Shiksha Gurus, wish to offer my humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas present here. And let us today begin to speak and hear from Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of Shri Shri Radha Gopinath. So today we are looking at Canto 3, chapter number 25, texts 6 and 7. So let us chant text number 6. Tam asinam akarmanam tattva margagradarshanam swasutam devahutyaha dhatu samsmarati vachaha. Tam asinam akarmanam tattva margagradarshanam swasutam devahutyaha dhatu samsmarati vachaha. Tamassinam karmanam tattva margagradarshanam devahutyaha samsmarati vachaha. Tamassinam akarmanam tattva margagradarshanam vasutam devahutyaha dhatu samsmarati vachaha. तत्त्वमार्गाग्रदर्शनम् स्वसुतं देवहूत्याः धातु संस्मरति वचः. Mataji's. Tamasinam akarmanam tattvamargagradarshanam swasutam devahutyaha dhatu samsmarati vachaha. Let's look at the word-to-word translation. Tam, to him, Kapila. Asinam, seated. Akarmanam, at leisure. Tattva, of the absolute truth. Marga agra, the ultimate goal. Darshanam, who could show. Swasutam, her son. Devahutihi, Devahuti. Aha, said. Dhatuhu, of Brahma. Samsmarati, remembering. Vachaha, the words. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. There is no purport here, so we will go to the next verse. But however, Srila Prabhupada has given an extensive writing on this verse in the book, The Teachings of Kapila. So we will try to reflect on that as well today. So the next verse. Devahutir uvacha. Repeat. Devahutir uvacha. Nirvinna nitaram bhuman asad indriya darshanat ena sambhavyamanena prapannandam tama prabho. Translation. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses, for because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Purport. Here, the word asad indriya darshanat is significant. Asat means impermanent, temporary, and indriya means senses. Thus, asad indriya darshanat means from being agitated by the temporarily manifest senses of the material body. We are evolving through different statuses of material bodily existence, sometimes in a human body, sometimes in an animal body, and therefore the engagements of our material senses are also changing. Anything which changes is called temporary or asat. We should know that beyond these temporary senses are our permanent senses, which are now covered by the material body. The permanent senses, being contaminated by matter, are not acting properly. Devotional service, therefore, involves freeing the senses from this contamination. When the contamination is completely removed and the senses act in the purity of unalloyed Krishna consciousness, we have reached Sad Indriya, or eternal sensory activities. Eternal sensory activities are called devotional service, whereas Temporary sensory activities are called sense gratification. Unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental messages from a person like Kapila. Devahuti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Lord Kapila. Jai Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's ki Jai. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhutair Mahatbirya ima puro vibhu nirmaya shete yadamushu purusha Bhungter gunamsho dashashodasatmaka solang krishishta bhagavan vachamsi me Shri Krishna sharanam sharanagatam kata amritam satatapibatam bhakti vedanta marga panktanam Sarvalokarishi Deva Janna Prasannam Sarvalokarishi Deva Janna Prasannam. Hare Krishna again. So welcome once again to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are reading a very beautiful chapter which has just started, the glories of devotional service. So one of the most beautiful chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam, from which we can learn so much and get enlivened in our Krishna consciousness. So in today's verse, we see the beautiful conversation that is unfolding between Mother Devahuti and her dear son Kapila. And who's Kapila? Is none other than the Supreme Personality of Lord Shri Krishna himself. So he is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord who has appeared in the human form as the son of Mother Devahuti to enlighten her, and through that the Lord enlightens all of us on the path of Shri Krishna consciousness. So we have seen that Kardama Muni has left for the forest, and now Mother Devahuti is under the care and shelter of her dear son. And here we see that the person who's sitting in front of her, Kapila Muni, although he is the son of Mother Devahuti, because he is the Supreme Lord himself, he becomes her guru. So Mother Devahuti here takes a submissive position. So Mother Devahuti is not thinking, oh, I'm the mother, and he's my little son. Why should I listen from him? But here, knowing that Kapila is the Supreme Lord, she is now ready to take instructions from him. So in this verse, we see a very, very beautiful point. So first, when I read this verse, to be honest, text 6, and there was no purport in the verse. So, our material senses, they are so imperfect that when I read this verse, I just read it and thought, okay, it says that when Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. So all that immediately popped up in front of me was, okay, Mother Devahuti is sitting in front of Kapila. They are having a leisurely conversation. Okay, let's go to the next verse. And our material senses are so imperfect that I had literally skipped seeing this beautiful phrase that is hidden here, which is Tattva Margagra Darshanam. That is, the Lord who could show her the path of devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada translates it as Tattva Margagra Darshanam as, what does he say? It is the who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth. So when we read the book, The Teachings of Kapila, here Srila Prabhupada elaborate extensively on this part, that is the path of devotional service. That Tattva Marga is nothing but really the path of Krishna consciousness. So we can have a whole lecture and days of seminars on just this one little phrase. But however, we'll try to see what we can cover today. So while Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni were sitting together, Mother Devahuti remembered the words that Lord Brahma had spoken to her. That is, when Kapila Muni appeared in the womb of Mother Devahuti, Lord Brahma had appeared there to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord. And at that time, Lord Brahma had said, Esha manavite garbham pravishta kaita bhardanaha avidya samshaya grantim chitva gam vicharishyati. So there Lord Brahma had said, my dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. So here Lord Brahma is assuring Mother Devahuti that her son Kapila is the Supreme Lord and that he will enlighten her on the path of devotional service and that he will give her all the knowledge on how she could advance spiritually in her life. And so remembering these words of Lord Brahma, now when Mother Devahuti is sitting in front of her dear son Kapila, she perfectly understands that this is not just my ordinary son, he is the Supreme Lord, and therefore I have to take instructions from him. So that's why in this verse we see that the Lord who could show her the path of the absolute truth, Tattva Margagra Darshanam. So today we'll try to reflect a little bit on that, and let us see how far we can cover, and if possible we'll go to the next verse. So Srila Prabhupada, in his writing very clearly, very beautifully, he explains that this Tattva Margagra Darshanam, what it really means is that the ultimate goal of Krishna consciousness, why are we all following this path? What are we doing? But it is nothing but the path of bhakti, to please the senses of Krishna. So, and by pleasing Krishna, when Krishna becomes pleased, what happens? Automatically, as spirit souls, all of us who are a part and parcel of Krishna, then we also become pleased and we are also blissful in all that we do, through all our services, through our entire life. We are completely satisfied and blissful because we are connecting ourselves with Krishna, who is the supreme enjoyer, and the supreme Lord, who is full of joy. He is Bhoktaram, he is the enjoyer. So when we are very clear with this understanding, then what happens? There is nothing more left. So Srila Prabhupada says that the last word in Tattva Jnana means, the philosophy, all that we are trying to learn and understand, be it through all the Vedas, the Upanishads, everything. The last word is nothing but devotional service to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada explains about the, how when one is situated on the Brahman platform, that is, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shochati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labate Param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. So, Srila Prabhupada explains that it is not enough for us to just reach that Brahma Bhuta position, like which a lot of people think is the ultimate liberation. They think that once they merge with the Supreme Lord, once they merge with the Brahman, then that is the end of their path on self-realization. But we understand that that is not an end in itself, because even though one might be liberated, and when one reaches the Brahman position, that is actually a platform for us to step up to the next level, which is devotional service. Because at the Brahman position, there is always the risk of falling down. Because once all our pious credits, all our punya, through our karma, we would have gained some pious credits and some negative points as well in our life. But when all our pious credits end, then there is a chance, or it will be that we will fall down from that position. Therefore, even though when one is liberated, or rather when one is liberated, that becomes a very conducive platform for one to take on to devotional service and to intensify one's bhakti more and more. So here Srila Prabhupada explains about the three forms of realizing the absolute truth, because that is what is Tattva Margagra Darshanam. As we all know, the Brahman stage, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So Srila Prabhupada compares it to like, when we see a mountain. From a very far distance, when you look at the mountain, a mountain might just look like a big hazy cloud. There is something like that, like a V-shaped thing, and it's just, it's just brown and green and all kinds of colors, and something is there, you can see it. And then when you go closer to the mountain, little bit, as you're driving and you're still on the foothills, you will see that it is all green. It's not, it doesn't look any more like a cloud, but it's all green. I can see some color now over there. And then when you actually start driving up the mountain on the roads, when you keep going up, you will see there are trees that are bearing beautiful flowers and fruits. There's a variety of shrubs. There's a variety of plants. There's a variety of animals. There are houses. There are people dwelling inside the house. And you can actually go into that house. You can have prasad with them. You can interact with them, and if you are taking something from wherever you're driving, you can go there and give it to them, to the people who are living in the mountain. So that way, Srila Prabhupada beautifully compares these three stages of realizing the supreme truth. So at the level of Brahman realization, we just understand that there is some divine power. There is something supreme that is beyond me, that I can't understand. But that supreme power is controlling. That supreme power is the controller of the universe. There is something divine, and I am small. That realization. Then, at the level of Paramatma realization, we understand that this supreme power is actually within the heart of everyone. He is a person. He resides as the super soul. So it is said that the form of Sri Vishnu, who is in the heart of everyone, is about the length of between the ring finger to the thumb. It's about that big. Lord Vishnu is residing in the heart of everyone. He's holding the Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma. He's wearing a beautiful shining helmet, and he's just shining gloriously, wearing a Kaustubha gem, beautiful garlands. So like that, Lord Vishnu, as the super soul, is within the heart of everyone. Then what happens? We begin to see everyone as equal. We don't see a difference between the animals or the humans, or between the trees, or even within humans. We don't differentiate, because we see that Lord Vishnu is there in the heart of every single living entity. And then the next stage is the Brahman realization. The next stage is the Bhagavan realization, where we understand that this supreme soul, this super soul, or this, magnificent, huge, this, supreme power that we can't understand or that we can't see, is actually a person. He is the origin of everything. He is Shri Krishna. He is Sarva Karana Karanam. And that everything that is related to the Supreme Lord is so spiritually vibrant. There is so much variety. So that's what Srila Prabhupada tries to focus. He says that there is so much variegatedness in the spiritual world. Because be it at the Brahman or the Paramatma realization, what happens is one just thinks that, there is a void, there is nothing beyond. What is all this material world? What are we all doing here? There is nothing. It is all just, we shouldn't connect with all this. But when we realize that Sri Krishna as the Supreme Person pervades through the entire universe, then this whole atmosphere that we are living in itself becomes spiritual. Or rather, it is spiritual. So when we come to the temple, we realize that this is spiritual world. This is no longer a material space. So when this mic or this stand is being used in Krishna's service, this is purely spiritual. These mats on which we are all sitting and hearing Bhagavad Katha, these mats are not just material, but they are spiritual. So, the flowers, the fruits, as long as they just remain in the garden, they are just flowers and fruits. They are beautiful to look at. They might be tasty to, eat, or they look colorful. But when we bring them to the temple and when we offer them to Krishna, and then when we accept them, then we are tasting Krishna Prasad. Then we are actually enjoying the beauty of the flower. So when the flowers in the garden, when they are brought here, when they are made into beautiful garland, and when they are offered to Krishna, then what happens? Krishna beautifies those flowers. He adds taste to the fruits that we offer him. He adds all the, the actual ultimate ingredient that makes anything special. So imagine if that is the case with just the fruits and flowers. Imagine when we offer ourselves to Krishna, what will happen? So when we offer and dedicate our life to Krishna, when we begin to engage in devotional service, when we begin to connect with Krishna constantly throughout our life, then Krishna spiritualizes our entire existence. So then this body or whoever we are, it doesn't remain material anymore, it becomes spiritual. But to attain that stage, we need to first purify our senses. So it doesn't happen that easily. So that leads us into the next verse where Mother Devahuti is now telling her son Kapila. So what does she say? So now Mother Devahuti is saying that I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. For because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. So imagine someone who is as exalted as Devahuti. She is not an ordinary person. She is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. She is the wife of Kardama Muni. She is the mother of Kapila Dev. And she herself is saying that she has been put into the abyss of ignorance. So the abyss, it looks like a big word. It means like a deep hole or a big gulf of ignorance. Now, why is Mother Devahuti saying this? She is taking a submissive position in front of her son. And also so that through her, we are all trying to learn from Kapila Muni. Because we are all also in that conditioned state. So what happens, when we are in this world, we all think that we are the enjoyers. So we engage our senses in getting pleasure for ourselves, be it our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, our hands, the jnanendriyas, that is the knowledge acquiring senses, and the karmendriyas are, our body through which we act. we try to enjoy and we think that, like, all right, everything in this world is for me. And Srila Prabhupada says that that is the biggest deep hole of ignorance. So that is actually that tama andha tamaha. Andha means abyss. Srila Prabhupada is translating. Tamaha means ignorance. So this understanding that we are the body, that, I am the enjoyer. So this understanding is the actual deep hole of ignorance that we are all caught up in. Now, to come out of that, what do we do? So, absolutely. So Prabhuji just said, chant Hare Krishna. So let's chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Beautiful. So the minute we start chanting, what happens? We are coming in touch with the spiritual energy of Sri Krishna. So Hare refers to Srimati Radharani, to the internal potency of Sri Krishna. So simply by chanting, we are getting access to the internal pleasure-giving potency of Sri Krishna. So then what happens? Automatically we understand that whatever we have to do is for the enjoyment of Krishna, and when Krishna is pleased, then we will become pleased. Without that, we are nothing. So today when I was just driving on the M5, I was just getting like a lot of realizations. Because Srila Prabhupada was, he says how this material world, or, our understanding that we are the body, it's just, that is actually the darkness that we are in. And then when we come in touch with Krishna, because Krishna is so effulgent, then his light, it takes away all our ignorance. It destroys our understanding that we are the body. So then when we come in touch with Krishna, then automatically we are enlightened. So Krishna is the super soul in our heart. What is that verse? Tesham evanukampartam aham ajnanajam tamaha nashayamatma bhavasto jnanadhipena bhasvata. So he gives, as the shining lamp of knowledge sitting in our heart, he illumines us. So when I was driving today, at around 5:45 or 5:55 a.m., when I was leaving home, it was so dark. Like, slowly, because of summer, all right, at least some clouds were there, but it was still so cloudy and a bit dark. The sun hadn't risen fully, and all the cars, they all had the lights on. First I didn't put it on. I thought, I'm going at 6 in the morning. Why do I have to turn on the light? But it was still so dark. Okay, so even I turned on the light. Then as you were driving so many tunnels on the M5, you go through each tunnel and it is so dark. But then around 6:45, 7-ish, as I was getting closer to the temple, after crossing all these tunnels, and then as the sun was rising, it became so bright, and all the cars, they just turned off their lights. You didn't need those lights anymore. So that, as I was just driving, I felt, this is actually Krishna consciousness. This is today's verse. Because we are in this world and, we are passing through so many tunnels in our life, so many adventures and so many life experiences where we think that, this is the ultimate. But then when Krishna comes into our life, what happens? Then we get what is real life, what is our position, who are we? We are spirit souls. So, like that, Krishna rises as the sun in our life when we begin to serve Him, when we begin to engage with Him. And then there was another truck that was going in front, and the truck had a little, how these trucks have some sentences at the back. And it said, without trucks, Australia stops. And I was thinking, oh, okay, that's like Krishna consciousness. Without Krishna, our life stops. So I was like feeling, wow, there is, so anything we see, we can try to bring Krishna into that. We can see, how can we relate something to Krishna? So when we constantly keep doing that, then what happens? Our life itself becomes spiritual. So then just the driving, from Glenfield to North Sydney, even though it's 1 hour, it doesn't feel like 1 hour because the whole journey, if you're thinking about Krishna and if you're listening to Kirtans, Samsara Dhavana, Lalila Lokha, throughout the journey, Narshima prayer, then what happens? Krishna is constantly present with us through these vibrations. So, there is so much more that we can speak, but we will just try to see what else we can cover. So when we engage our senses in Krishna's service, and when our senses become purified, that is, sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktiruchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining. One is freed from all material designations, and simply by being employed in the service of the Lord, one's senses are purified. So Shri Krishna is called as Govinda. He is called as Rishikesha. Rishikesha means the master of senses. And Govinda means the one who gives pleasure to the senses. So, what happens is, Srila Prabhupada says that when we hear about Krishna, when we speak about Krishna, when we chant his holy names, when we chant, when we read from Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear Krishna Katha, so through all that what happens, we are purifying our ears by hearing Krishna Katha, by hearing the vibrations of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Then by speaking, we are purifying our tongue. We are purifying our mouth by tasting Krishna Prasad. By smelling the flowers offered to Krishna, we are purifying our nose. By wiping the temple, we are purifying our hands by cleaning. Then by seeing the darshan of Krishna, we are purifying our eyes. Then by touching, when we hug devotees sometimes, or when we bow down to Srila Prabhupada, when we bow down in front of Krishna, we are purifying our whole body just by doing that. So like that, when we constantly keep purifying our senses, we know the famous verse of Ambarish Maharaj. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane karau harir mandiramarjanadishu Shrutim chakara chuta satkatodhaye Mukunda lingalaya darshane drishau Tadbritya gatra sparshenga sangamam Granam cha tatpada saroja saurabhe Shrimat tulasya rasanam tadarpite Padau hare kshetra padanusarpane Shiro rishikesha padabhivandane Kamam cha dasye natu kama kamyaya Yatottama shloka janashrayarati. So Ambarish Maharaj engaged all his senses in pleasing Krishna. So by taking inspiration from these exalted personalities from Srimad Bhagavatam, we can also try to purify our life. So we'll end with this beautiful pastime of how Krishna got the name Govinda. So we know that at the end of the Govardhan Leela, when Indra, when he sent this huge thunderstorm to Vrindavana, thinking that he is the controller. He wanted to test the power of Krishna. And then what happened? All the Brajabasis, they wanted to, they ran to Krishna for shelter. And then at that time, Krishna, with his little finger, he lifted the Govardhan hill and he gave protection and shelter to all the Brajabasis. So all of them came under the Govardhan hill and they were protected. And then after that, what happened? Now Indra felt very ashamed because he was like, what is this? I thought I was the controller. And then he realizes the supremacy that no, Krishna is in control. He is the Supreme Lord. And then what happens? Indra, being very embarrassed of his act, he didn't want to go and see Krishna alone. At the same time, he wanted to apologize. So what did Indra do? Along with Mother Surabhi, that is the cow. Mother Surabhi, she came from the Goloka planet. And along with Mother Surabhi, Indra went and he met Sri Krishna in a very secret place. And there he apologized and he said, please forgive me. I thought that I was the controller. Now I realize my position, that you are the Supreme Lord. And then he glorifies Sri Krishna. And then Krishna says to Indra, now, you're cleared of your ignorant thinking that you are the controller, just like how all of us think. So then Sri Krishna says, don't worry, go back to your abode and continue your sevas. Then at that time, Mother Surabhi and Indra, they perform a beautiful abhishek for Krishna. They perform a bathing ceremony. So the elephant Airavata, that is Airavata, the elephant is the carrier of Indra. So with his trunk, he showers the Ganga Jal, the water from Ganga. He showers that on Sri Krishna to perform the abhishek. And Mother Surabhi, with her own milk, she performs the beautiful abhishek. And at that time, Indra coronates Sri Krishna. And Mother Surabhi says that you are our Indra. Sri Krishna, you are our Supreme Lord. And at that time, Indra gives the name Govinda to Sri Krishna. That is the Lord who gives pleasure to our senses. As the Lord who is the protector of the cows. The Lord who is very dear to the cows. So like that, Sri Krishna got the name Govinda. So we will end with this beautiful verse so that we can all constantly remember Sri Krishna, so that we can constantly glorify Sri Krishna, speak about him, relish his beauty, relish how Radha Gopinath is dressed every day, the beautiful garlands he's wearing, the beautiful ornaments, the beautiful colorful dresses that he's wearing, the jeweled, pearls, all that. Then by constantly looking at Radha Gopinath and admiring his beauty, we purify our senses. Then through that we become more eligible to serve Krishna. And we can please him more and more. Kasturi tilakam lalata patale Bakshastale kaustubham Nasagre navamautikam karatale Venum kare kankanam Sarvange harichandanam sulalitam Kante chamuktavalim Gopastri pariveshtito vijayate Gopala Chudamanihi. That is Kasturi Thalakam. Salutations to Gopala, who is adorned with the sacred marks of Kasturi or the musk on his forehead. And he is wearing a beautiful Kaustuba jewel on his chest. His nose is decorated with a shining pearl. The palms of his hands are gently holding a flute. And his whole body is smeared with sandal paste, as if playfully anointed. And his neck is decorated with a necklace of pearls. He is surrounded by the cowherd women, and Gopala is shining in their middle in celebration like a jewel on the head. So like that, when we keep hearing beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many beautiful verses. Barha pidam natavaravapuhu karnayo karnikaram Bibradvasah kanakakapisham Bhaijayantim chamalam Randran venuradara sudaya Purayan gopa vrindair Vrindaranyam swapadaramanam Pravishad gita kirtihi. So, how Lord Krishna enters the Vrindavana? Wearing a beautiful peacock feather, Barha Pidam, Natavaravapuhu. He is dancing and he is entering. Karnikaram, he is wearing a beautiful blue-colored Karnikara flower near his ear. Randran Venur Adara Sudaya. So he is holding a beautiful flute in his hands, and through his lips he is playing his beautiful flute. And as he dances along like this into Vrindavana, Pravishat Gita Kirtihi, all the Gopa friends, they're all singing and dancing behind him. So like that, let us keep praying that we will immerse ourselves in Srimad Bhagavatam, in chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Gaura Bhakta Vrind ki jai. Any questions or comments? Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can find out where this verse is from, but Krishna wears everything. If we look at Radha Gopinath, you will see a little, he's wearing Even the tilak that is there on Radha Gopinath, it is in red color. So all the colors are Krishna's colors. Krishna himself appears as yellow, he appears as green, he appears as red. So what is there in a tilak? It can be yellow, it can be red, and if Krishna wants, he can change it to any color. So, yeah. Um, I'm not too aware of that, but here it clearly says salutations to Gopala. Gopala means the one who is protecting the cows, the cowherd boys, Gopala. So it is Krishna. So anything that is in the purview of the spiritual world is something that we cannot understand.